Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you being here today. My name is Matt and this is Firewood in the Field. Today's the day after the video I posted where I was chainsawing up a large amount of hickory logs I brought home. I've got a couple shorts from a while back where I loaded those logs onto the trailer. This is quite possibly my personal best ever Facebook Marketplace score. So these were a bunch of hickory trees that a person was clearing some property. They loaded them on my trailer, already in log form with their tractor and their grapple. All I had to do was drive up, get loaded, tie them down, and bring them home. So very happy to have it. But I've got them all bucked up into 12-inch lengths. My area, that's what I do with my hickory. I could get more for my money selling the hickory as a cooking wood, and my own personal barrel smoker that I use takes a 12-inch piece of wood just great. And I've got a couple other customers that want to buy it in these lengths as well. One specific commercial customer that I'm hoping to grow a business model with, but I'm going to try to get all this split up today. It's a tall task. It's already 3 p.m., so I'm not sure how far I'll get. But let me turn the camera around and show you just how much hickory we got here. Apologize for the wind noise. I've got my earbuds in. I don't know how well that's going to do with the wind or not, but it is a windy day. I've got the 2IM T574. Instead of using the bucket, I had this skid already out here, and I didn't have to go back and swap out the forks for the bucket on the other side of the property. And I think this holds more rounds on it than my bucket. So we'll see how that does. Hopefully rounds don't fall off and crunch my splitter, but I've got quite a bit of hickory stacked up on the pallet, ready to be split. A few rounds on the splitter. And then we got all this. And it is late October 2024. So getting this stuff done now is essential. We are in a little bit of a warm spell. I'd like to have all this hickory available for my commercial customer in the springtime. I believe I've got him set with enough hickory to last him through the winter. His business slows down a little. So really want to get all this split up. Okay, it's enough talking. Let's get going. Well, I'm not going to lie, that was a little bit of a struggle. First time I've used this splitter to split those shorter pieces of wood. I'm used to my box store where I control the stroke a whole lot more. Still easier, still faster. You can use the 4-way in some respects. I don't have my box store splitter at the moment. I loaned it to a friend of mine, but I'll still continue to run with this one. Let me go ahead and show you how I'm stacking this into the tote. Being the shorter pieces makes it a little different to stack it. With these being only 12 inches long, I was going to try to do 3 rows straight across. The problem I had was the pieces were falling out of that big opening down there where the valve is. Where the opening for the valve, if this still had the tank in it, that big plastic dip right there. So I got those 2 pieces up kind of like goalkeepers, or my goalies, if you will. And I'll just keep stacking it up like this. Last time I stacked shorts like this, I used a different tote. This is that type that's got the square beams. Some of them are more rounded. They're all generally the same size, but they are a little different. But this one, that middle gap is a lot wider. So I'll pay attention to that next time I split this little smoker wood. But I think now that I got a base established, I'll be good, and I'll just keep working its way up that. Haven't even touched what's on the skid yet. I got all that on the ground, so a lot of work ahead of me tonight. All right, something else I notice is a challenge. These shorter rounds, the shorter stroke. You may have seen it, and it's the first time I've used this splitter for these shorter pieces. Trying to stop this is it's got the Prince auto cycle valve. One valve is forward, one valve is reverse. And if I would do them both, sometimes I found myself struggling to manhandle the cut pieces to get back here and turn off the return valve before it got back too far. So then I tried doing each valve manually, just running the forward valve and then just running the reverse valve. That didn't seem to be much better. I might get smoother as time goes on, or I may just not worry about it. I may just let it retract all the way and then let it push it back forward. Yeah, I'm losing a couple seconds each stroke with this extra 12 inches, but I don't want to get my hand caught in here or something stupid and get hurt. This isn't a race. But the more I do this, maybe I'll work out a little bit better methodology. For now, I'll just keep trying to do the same. I'll use the auto cycle, and if I can get back over here to fling the return valve off before it gets back too far, I'll do it. But if it gets back all the way, I'm not going to panic and try to get there. So one thing I did find that I've gotten better at the more I use this splitter is that I try to do as much splitting with the 4-way in a row, if it makes sense. So this one, I'm trying to control my splits down to a lot smaller size for the size the customer wants and the people around here generally want for their smokers. But I like to have, if I could get several rounds like this or bigger, raise the 4-way up to where it's, middle somewhere, and just send 4 or 5 rounds through the 4-way and get myself a pile of larger chunks set around. And then I'll lower to the single-way wedge, and I'll just stack the pieces on top of each other and run them through, and then I pull off 4 at a time. Seems to be a more efficient way to split. And I had a video I put out a little while back about when I was passing a bunch of ash logs through here. That was my plan. I had the truck parked here, and I could just grab a big ash round, send it through the 4-way, grab another round, send it through the 4-way, maybe do that with 3 or 4 rounds. And then some of those halves are big enough to send through the 4-way again. Try to get everything through the 4-way before I lower it. I like this splitter. But this 4-way does move. It's kind of slow compared to some other commercial splitters. So a lot of times, if I just got a piece that's not super big, it's faster to just push it through the single-way twice than it is to raise the 4-way, push it, and then lower the 4-way. So I'm going to try to keep that motto going, especially now that I'm just going to be pulling logs off behind me, and I have lots of room to put halves and quarters out here on the log lift table. See if maybe I can make a little more progress. Okay, everyone. Appreciate you being along this far, but it's going to be a wrap for the video today. My ambitions today were larger than the amount of available daylight. While I still have a good hour and 15 minutes of daylight, I'm going to have to put a pause on splitting. I've got to go hook my trailer up to my truck and do a few things to get ready for tomorrow while I've still got some daylight. So as you can see, didn't even get through half the rounds on the skid. I did get a half a tote split of this hickory though. It just takes a lot more time when you're splitting it small like that. There's a lot more room in this tote for each piece, if you will. So I'll keep working on it, and I'll update you with the status when we get to see just how much it made. Based on what I see now, what's on this skid will probably finish this tote. I'm going to project I'll have two full totes of small pieces of hickory stacked in there, two rows with a big center row going down the middle. That's good my projection right now. We'll see if I'm right. I'll post some content later. All right, it's been a good month plus since I recorded the footage and the rest of this video where I split the hickory. Time just got away from me. We had Thanksgiving, I had deer season, we had family stuff, kids stuff, sports, gymnastics. We just had the stuff called life. Behind me is the results of all the hickory I was splitting in this video. So you can see 3 full totes and 1 partial full. Got my rain caps on them just to help keep the rain off of them a little bit. This isn't where they're going to stay. Normally, I like to stack them to where the peaks of the little rain cap roofs don't shed water into each other. But right now, the ground's really soft, and I've got a woodyard reorganization project I need to get around to eventually. So this, even though it's only a little more than 1 cord by volume, those totes are really heavy. It's the first time I've had this much hickory split that small. So with 12-inch cut pieces, split a little smaller than I normally do, you can fit a lot more wood, per square inch and per cubic inch inside that tote, if you will. Now think about if you had a 5-gallon bucket and you went and got rocks, the size of your fist, and filled that 5-gallon bucket with rocks the size of your fist. Then you get a different 5-gallon bucket and you have 1 inch. Some people call it crusher run around here. We call it 1 inch clean, 2 inch clean, things like that. Say you go get you some 1 inch clean where the gravel is only 1 inch, and you shovel a few shovelfuls into your bucket. Well, if you lifted those 2 buckets, the one with the 1 inch rock would be heavier. This is a lot more rock in that bucket. Same thing with these totes with the hickory. There's a lot more wood mass in there because the pieces are smaller. You fit more of it in. There's less airspace. Anyway, I'm talking too much, as always. I appreciate you taking the time to watch the channel. Appreciate it even more if you consider to hit that like and subscribe button. From Matt at Firewood in the Field. See you next time.